That was unprepared.
Very unprepared. There's no way I'm reading this script. I should have told you that at the start.
This is the Nutanix Cloud Interlock podcast with your host, Michael Carr.
Welcome back to Nutanix Cloud Interlock, your place to be in the know on all things to enhance and improve your cloud journey. With me today is Maksim Malygin. Hey, mate, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Welcome to Singapore.
Yeah, no worries. Good to be here. Today we've got a topic front of mind for many customers. I know I've had a lot of discussions with them, which is cloud economics and economic efficiency within the cloud. We know that cloud is really built around that TCO and ROI and getting things in there fast to improve it. So we're going to dive into that. You're the solutions architect leader for portfolio services here at Nutanix across APJ. Tell us a bit about your journey coming here and then we'll dive into where we're taking customers.
That was unprepared.
Very unprepared. There's no way I'm reading this script. I should have told you that at the start.
Where should I start? I started as probably many of us in the tech as a support guy. Many years ago, running a lot of web services for the customers. So cloud was with me from day one in tech. Even though there was no term cloud that days, it was back in 2000. Back in 2001, there was no cloud, but there was a lot of computers and servers and Apaches and MySQLs. So all the goodness that you see today in the cloud was there. We're just not named and branded as cloud.
Just not called cloud. No.
Yeah, just not cool.
Not yet.
Yeah. And then I spent most of the time in my career working with enterprise customers. They were not really in the first wave of cloud adoption, as you know from your history, but they waited for the cloud to become mature enough, and then they started an adoption slowly, but in a very constant pace, getting there. And that was my journey as well, together with my customers on the cloud. As of today, what we see in Nutanix is cloud is not a buzzword anymore. It's just a commodity for everyone as on premises or the cloud. It doesn't matter where you put the workload, you put it where it makes sense.
Yeah, I think that definitely makes a lot of sense. We saw an initial charge towards cloud maybe 5 or 6 years ago when it was proven, it was more mature, the services were there, the locations were there. Every CIO went out and said, we're all in on cloud, we're 100% there. I think now we're starting to see the application and the use cases there become more applicable, especially in the enterprise space. You touched on two things there that I really find interesting when we're talking cloud economics with customers. And the first part is, I've got a traditional application. It's huge. It's been growing over the last 5 or 6 years. It's pretty static. We don't really make many modifications to it. However, I want to put more stuff in cloud because maybe I'm looking at it to reduce my facilities costs. So I want to get out of that. I don't want to run a facility bricks and mortar anymore. I really want cloud. But moving that whole ERP system or moving that traditional application, it's not really going to deliver the benefits. In some cases, it can cost a lot more just to move it, lift and shift and put it in the cloud. So then they start going down the modernization journey. And the thing that I've found with modernizing a lot of those applications is it takes a lot longer. I think on average, we see it taking 4 to 5 times longer to modernize an application than lifting it and putting it in the cloud and moving it over there. So when we look at these applications, you may say, well, I'm not really going to get a huge economic benefit by shifting the application in there, but it's going to take me 5 years and it's going to cost me millions, thousands, whatever it is, to go and modernize that application set. So now they need to look at those applications a little bit differently. And they say, okay, well, if I'm going to modernize that, but I want to reduce and remove my bricks and mortar, these 100 applications, 200 applications, they're making me keep that facility. So now my whole economic business case that I've built this cloud on, it's gone. It doesn't make sense anymore. So now I've got to look at it from both a modernization strategy and pick that, and I've got to look at it from a lift and shift strategy and say, what's the quickest and fastest way that I can get those into cloud? And that's where we see another challenge that falls out of that, which is bimodal operations. Now, you've been at Nutanix longer than me. Your 5-year anniversary was just a couple of weeks ago. Talk to me a little bit about how you see bimodal ops and customers having to have now a dedicated cloud team and a dedicated, or we'll call it a legacy infrastructure side, and what that's doing for their whole economic and operational efficiency.
Okay, that's a great topic. liked it very much. That the whole thing about the bimodal or the double speed IT, how we called it, was brought up by Gartner like about 7 years ago when the cloud was on the rise. And the pitch from the Gartner to their customers was, if you want to adopt the cloud, you'll be slowed down by the team who is managing the on-premises business as of today. So how you do it? You build another team, you gave them cloud mandate, you give them the will, the freedom to run it as they want, right? And you don't touch them for a while, unless to the moment they will become mature enough as the on-premises, then you merge them, right? That was a pitch. The problem is, the biggest problem is, you can't do that. No. It just doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work like that.
No.
So a lot of customers who went this way, and I've personally spoken to a lot of CEOs on this, they realized that instead of building a successful cloud business unit, they just created another monster. Now, there's two teams, they don't talk to each other. They see to each other as enemies. And while both of them may be running their business perfectly fine, for the bigger enterprise, it creates a lot of damage. It slows down things instead of making them work fast. That brings us to the question whether we should modernize something just for the sake of modernizing. I'll give an example. The Boeing 737 is there in the market, I may be wrong, don't quote me on that, for the last 40 years. But it's still the same 737. You just get better seats, better avionics, better engines. You're not scraping the whole plane just for the sake of modernization. And that's what we see as a moving force in the market as well in IT, where you have your on-premises and you have your systems which works perfectly fine, but you get a better engine in the cloud, or you get better avionics in the cloud. Why you change the whole plane? You just simply need to move it there and retrofit the plane to work with new engines, to work with new avionics. And then you have your crew, your first pilot, your second pilot, and the cabin crew. You can get exactly the same crew and just let them work in a new plane with probably just 1 or 2 weeks upskilling. And if this works in the most critical and the most life critical industry as an aviation, why shouldn't it work in IT? Why should we train 2 different teams to work on 2 different planes? One of them has 4 wings because we thought it's really cool, or it has a lot of small wings around it as a microservices. Right? It just doesn't work that way. We should use the most optimal, less risk-adverse way and less costly way, go in there instead of building 2 teams.
No, look, it's a great analogy. Actually, I don't think I've ever heard you say that one before. That's brilliant. You just brand new that one. I think it's spot on. Now, from an economic point, that doesn't make sense. That makes complete relevance in terms of how you would go and approach cloud from a modernize versus a migrate strategy. Maksim, customers are used to dealing with and understanding in greater detail and transparency the costs that they incur today for hardware operations and those virtual machines running on premises. Do you think they really have the ability to do that in such a great detail in the cloud ongoing today?
We have, in my conversations with the customers, what I see, we have 2 different sides of spectrum. We have a customer who has a great understanding in detail what they're doing. That will be most likely big old-time enterprises with very mature IT team. And we have another side of spectrum which only sees the lump sum at the end of the month. And sometimes this lump sum comes with surprises. So I would say customers and enterprises in APJ have an idea how this should look like. But not all of them would understand how this number is derived.
So we understand that customers are trying to get a little bit more detail and maybe predictability in the costs that they're doing ongoing. What about when they're understanding, and I often talk about decision deadlock hindering migrations going into cloud because they try and refactor or modernize all the applications. How do you think customers are with measuring what that's going to cost as well, from moving something to a replatform, or I want to move it to serverless? Do you think they really have an understanding of what those charges are and how long it takes?
Usually they think they have an understanding, because that comes with a bill from the system integrator that says, I'll do this for X.
Yeah.
Right? X amount of man days or X amount of dollars, that project will last for 2 years. In reality, that will most likely be a professional services engagement that, as we know, not to pinch the professional services guys there.
Definitely nothing against professional services.
And the way they scope it. But we do it in Nutanix like in the best possible way.
It's always right.
It's always right, yeah. But most likely, any professional services engagement has its ups and downs and risks. It may be delayed, it may be prolonged, it may have unforeseen challenges on the way. Yeah. So the suggestion that we have to the customer, and that's been there for ages, we are not invented it, is don't combine two projects into one. If you want to modernize your application by moving to the microservices, do that in place.
Yeah.
If you want to migrate to the cloud, do it as is.
Yeah.
Just relocate.
Yeah.
The moment you combine both, it will become a nightmare. Just all these dependencies between the data and the applications and the consumers and the source of data, just navigating this will become a challenge and may prolong the project, and what I said will become the reality.
Yeah, I think that's right. And, I think when you look at it as well, the sort of the best migration strategies I've seen have been to migrate into cloud first, and then you're there. All your workloads are there. And now I can do an in-place modernization. I've known and I've tested. We've set up our security. We've set up our governance policies on the cloud native services already in the uniform. So now I can modernize. I know how much it's going to cost. So that whole migrate and then modernize is going to really allow you to exit your DC. So now that known cost is gone. I've got a known cost running in the cloud, and now I can pick and choose the right applications based on their ROI, because I know it's going to take me 3 weeks to go and make this serverless. I know it's going to take me X amount of time, and this is what my storage cost looks like in S3. So yeah, great point. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Nutanix Cloud Interlock. I hope you find the topic insightful as you embark on or enhance your cloud journey, and look for Nutanix to help you get your hybrid cloud done right. Don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn and look out for the very next episode for Nutanix Cloud Interlock. Hit subscribe and like and all that stuff.